So create a database. Put some data into it because it would be a pretty useless database otherwise. Create some records. So that's going to be practicing your DDL, which is data definition language. So you should know about the 3 kinds of SQL. So create a database, put some data into it, and run some queries. Right, so that's your data manipulation language and your data query language. So putting data, the C part of CRUD is data manipulation language because you're creating or deleting or modifying row sets. And then run some queries. So now you're doing DQL, which is data query language. So now you know the 3 kinds of SQL queries. There's actually a 4th kind we have not worked with here. There's data control language, which allows you to allow, grant, or deny users access to tables. But we have not done that, and you will not be tested on it. We have not done anything with security here. You will not be tested on it. You should know about the basic concepts of SQL of the relational database. And you should know about God's laws. And there sorry, question. Is somebody asking a question? Somebody talking to ask a question? You got you need me to explain more on something? Well, as soon as you do, you can talk, you can unmute yourself and ask with the mic, or you can type it into the chat box, which I'm keeping my eye on. So any way that's comfortable for you, just do that. So Cod's laws, now we saw that there are 13 of Cod's laws. Fortunately, we don't need to be concerned with all of them. In fact, we only need to know about a few of them. So you should know that according to COD, this is what COD says. He says that if you want to create a relational database to model the data in a business domain, he said, I mean, I never actually met him in person, but I've read his book, so I sort of feel like I've met him. If you want to model the data in a business domain, step 1, you figure out all the entities that exist in that business domain. So in college, for example, we have students, classes, and we connect We relate because it's the relational database. We relate students and classes with enrollments. That's what Cod would say if he was here. The other thing he said, and he was very big on this, and he was very strong on it. And again, I never met him, but I imagine if anybody ever said no to him about this, he'd probably get pretty mad. He'd probably even start shouting at them or something, I guess, because people do that when they get mad about something. Oh, by the way, I am not going to be asking you about JSON. I am not going to be asking you about MongoDB. We did a couple of classes on it, but I figure if we just master SQL, well, I mean, I might ask you one question. Here's the one question that I might ask you about JSON. And it's over here, of course, in your database topics question bank. So make sure you're pretty familiar with that. Right, we've been keeping track of all our little practice questions and answers here. Right, so how to study. So there's your PowerPoint, and there is also your practice questions bank that we've been keeping with each other here. PowerPoint is pretty good because I've written that over several years, so it's pretty complex, it's pretty comprehensive by now. Also, remember we made that spreadsheet. I sort of made an Excel sheet which summarizes a lot of Thomas Codd's ideas, and we used it as the basis for our labs, and there's a lot of good information there. So I would direct that it would probably be a good idea to go and study that. Let's go and take a look at that. Here. So that is also linked in your classroom, and it's something we spent a fair amount of time on it. So there's a lot of good summary of this stuff here. See, there's Thomas Codd, and there's various of his ideas. So I'll link that up in your study notes as well. Now, we were saying here, this is how Codd thought that his invention should be put to good use. Figure out all the entities, and then within each one of those entities, this is all in your Excel sheet, by the way, within each one of those entities, he said, figure out what attributes describe it. I see a comment question. I'm going to go and answer it in a minute. What attributes describe that data record? Sir, should I send assignment 2? No, don't put it in Classroom. Please send it direct to Dropbox. And if there's any assignments you have not gotten done yet, please get them in maybe by Monday, right? So I'll give you Saturday and Sunday to do it, because I got to get the stuff marked too, right? So please get it direct to Dropbox. I don't take any marks off if it's late, but just help me out by handing it in so I can mark it. So anyway, figure out within each of those entities, student, classes, or enrollments, what attributes describe that record. So student ID, student name, cell phone, email, address, whatever else the student has, put it there. And those become the fields of your table. And then Cod said that we can manufacture new knowledge. Manufacture new knowledge from the data in those tables. By making predicate joins to link the tables together. And that is pretty much what we've done, right? That's pretty much it. Also, you can do data reporting, you can do SQL polls. So that's the read of CRUD. With the select statement. And you can process your output in a variety of ways. Process the output. So then on that output, when you do a read, you can do sort by, order by, and you can also filter. And it's probably easier if I actually make some little examples here rather than try to explain it with words. So now let's go make a simple example exactly as we did for our assignments. Let's make a simple example in MySQL just to show you and to reinforce this. I see a couple of chat comments coming in I'm going to get to in a minute. Let's make a simple example with MySQL to practice doing this. Can you send me the link for assignment 2? I thought that it was in Google Classroom, wasn't it? I thought so. Maybe I'm wrong, but let's go and look. So if I go to classwork, whoops, it hasn't been saved. Hasn't it been saved? Well, maybe it's still uploading or something. Why is it saying it hasn't been saved? Anyway, maybe it's still uploading. I'm going to go and open another. Yeah, let me check. Sorry, whoever just asked me that question, I'm pretty sure it's up there. And if it's not, we'll go and put it there. But let's go and look. Allow recording. Yes, please. That's a very good idea. Do record what we're doing. So I think it was Amarpreet Singh. I'm pretty sure what you want is right there, isn't it? Assignment 2. Oh, so yeah, assignment right there. That's your instruction sheet. And your Dropbox. Didn't I put a Dropbox? I thought I did. I should have. Yeah, right there. There you go. Oh, no, that is my copy of the database. Your upload location is right there. So you guys are going to upload, Amar, Preet, you're going to upload to right there. There you go. Right, so Amar, Preet, you're going to send it right up to there. All right, guys. So, ladies, boys, and girls, I'm now going, not a problem. I'm now going to here's what's going to happen in this class tonight till 8 o'clock. For maybe about 30 minutes or so, I am going to I'm going to make some simple practice. We're going to make a little pretend database. And as we saw a few weeks ago, we use ChatGPT because ChatGPT will not help you unless you know what you're supposed to do, right? First of all, let's go and start our MySQL. And you don't have to follow me on this, but I'd say it would be a good idea, right? If you're not doing something, there's probably not really any point in being in class. I'm not taking attendance tonight. I assume everybody is here. But I'm going to demonstrate, and I would suggest it would be a good idea for you to follow. So let's go and start MySQL Workbench. And now let's click to make sure we can connect, make sure the server is running, because maybe it's not running. And if it's not, then just go and start it. But yeah, there it is, right there. There you go. That was actually our warehouse thing. So now the next step is what? The next step is I'm going to go and make a new model because MySQL calls databases model. Why do they call it model? Because you model the data there, so therefore it's a model. So file, new model right there. And the first thing I'm going to do is save it because the database is a file on the file system. And if maybe, my computer locks up, I don't want to lose too much work, so I will save my database. So I'll say file, save model as, and I'll go and find, I like to be organized about how I save things, even though we're not handing this in or anything, but I don't know, I still like to be an organized guy. So I'm going to go to our class folder and save it right there. And this is December 6th lab work. And similarly, I'll call my file December 6th lab work. Why not? If it was a good name before, it's a good name now. December 6th lab work. There she goes. Whoops, it didn't save. What happened? December 6th lab work. .mwb. .mwb. Save. All right. I'm doing good. I hope you're doing good too. So you note up here in this tab, you see we have a tab which is showing us our database. I'm going to close this other tab because I don't really need it anymore. Now look, first of all, in our new tab, let's make a connection to our server. There it is. Now it's open. And that's actually still showing me my last stuff from before. Well, that is just my SQL statements, actually. That's not my database, although I still do have tables over here. So I'm going to now go and make a new schema. So I'm going to make a new schema. See, all of these tables and views, and we didn't get into views here. We didn't get into stored procedures, but yeah, it's a thing. So I'm going to make a new schema. So I'm going to open my SQL a panel where I enter commands right there. Do you see what I did? Right there. I clicked right the one on the left. Now I could save my SQL commands into a file, and I could open the file. And if I was doing this job at work, which I have done in the past, I would definitely save all my SQLs in a file because I probably need to run them every day. We haven't gotten into that here. It's okay. So now, first of all, let's create a schema because tables live in schemas, just like dogs live in, well, in my case, the dog pretty much lives in the bedroom. My wife keeps chasing him out and telling him not to go there, but he just sneaks in when nobody's looking. So anyway, we're going to make a new schema over here. Why? Because tables live in schemas. Yes, they do. Believe me. I've been working with them a long time, and I tell you that's where they live. So tables live in schema. So do views, so do stored procedures. You don't need to know that for right now. Schemas are like rooms. Like imagine your house is very big, maybe like a 10-room house. So one room's the sitting room, and one room's the dining room, the kitchen, the workshop, the office, the rec room, and so on. So in your office, you put your desk and your computer, and in your rec room, you put your TV and your foosball table. So rooms organize stuff in the house, just like schema organizes tables in the database. So let's go and make a schema here. Let's do that. You and me together right now, right here. So I'm going to say create schema, and I'm going to give it a name such as the December 6th schema. Because today is December 6th, and this is a schema. Now, how do I run a SQL? By the way, for your test, there will be no practical component. There will be only written. And also, let me just finish writing down what I was saying before. On your practice questions, changes are not saved. What changes are not saved? I think the changes are saved because I posted that. I think it's lying to me. Anyway. Oh yeah, your test bank of questions. So for final exam, you will not be asked about JSON or MongoDB, right? JSON is a NoSQL database. It does not have primary key, and we did study it and we did do some labs on it, but I'm not going to ask you about it. I'll be quite happy if you can just manage to learn all the stuff you need about SQL. I think that'll be good enough for this course. So anyway, how do I run a SQL statement? I select it, and then I click on the lightning bolt right there. And now you see one. Oh, I got a chat comment coming in right here. I'm going to go and look at it right now. Hang on. Sir, exam will be on your computer. Thank you for reminding us of that. Amarpreet, I'm glad you reminded me. Bring your laptop. I mean, there's computers in the classroom too, to be honest. I don't know the password or anything. I would say bring your device. It will be exactly like class marker, exactly like class marker. And in the last little bit of today's class, I'm actually going to give you a practice test, and then you can challenge yourself by yourself. And then I'll give you the answers later, and then you can see if you need to study more than anything. But it will be on computer with class marker tool, not on paper. And believe me, nobody likes it more than I do that we've gotten rid of paper exams. They were such a hassle for the instructors. We had to drag them around. They were heavy, and you had to keep track of them, and they would take up space in your house. Then you'd have to bring them back to the college because the college wanted to store them. I did not like paper tests at all. The paper is, I don't know, it's troublesome. It takes believe me when I say that the computer-based tests are so much nicer for everybody. So yeah, Amarpreet, thanks for reminding us on that. All right, let's go back to here now. So it said one row is affected, so that's pretty good. Now what happens if I go over here and say refresh? And do you see I now have December 6th schema in there? Now what's the next thing I have to do? I have to say use schema. So I create, now I say use schema December 6th. And once again, I have to run that. Use is not valid in this position. Why is it not valid? It should be. hang on, guys. I got to check something because if use doesn't, because I teach about 10 different subjects this term. So sometimes my poor brain gets overloaded. But if I don't specify, well, let's go over and ask ChatGPT some questions because we're going to get it to generate our DLL. But the first thing I'm going to say is this correct? Is this DDL, DQL, or so is it data query language, data manipulation language, or data definition language? Is this the correct? What is it? What do you guys think? Think about it for a minute. It's not data query. It's not data manipulation, so it must be DDL. Maybe you'll get some logic questions like that in your test next week. Oh, I see. Yeah, no, we don't mention the keyword SQL. Of course, we just use, yeah. Sorry, guys, it's been a long day for me. But the important thing to remember here is that you must point to what schema you want to use before you create a database, or else the database engine won't know which schema to put it in. Let's try that again. Yeah, you don't put the keyword schema there. That's right. So let's hit the lightning bolt. And now we are active in the schema of December 6th schema, which means we can now do one. We can now do what? We can now create a table. So now I'm going to go over here and we'll say posit a database for a bookstore, right? That's a simple example. Show me what tables I need. We did this, I think, last week, or was it 2 weeks ago, when we did the warehouse, right? The warehouse, I was showing you how to use ChatGPT to generate your DDL. All right, so for now, I'll tell it for now, let's just have books, customers, and orders. And I showed you guys my video, right? How to teach yourself anything with ChatGPT. So by just spending a couple hours asking questions to ChatGPT and then practicing, it's the same as in the old days we had to buy these books for hundreds of dollars. So now I'm going to say generate the DDL for each table. Now, of course, just having ChatGPT would not help you if you didn't know what a relational database is, why you're doing this, how to use MySQL, right? You still need to have domain knowledge. Just having the information won't help unless you know what to do with it. It's like you could give me a book on how to fly an airplane, but you probably don't want to be on that airplane with me because why? I don't really know. It says, you know, lower the air flaps or something. I'm like, well, Jesus, what's an air flap? I have no clue. So ChatGPT replaces the book. However, that does not replace your need to have domain knowledge of what you're doing. So let's take this over here. And let's get rid of the things which are not SQL, such as this. So that's the DDL for books. That's the DDL for customers. And this is the DDL for orders. So if I run this command, I should now have 3 tables winking into existence. But remember, first of all, I did have to say use December 6th schema or whatever is the schema I wanted to use. I had to do that anyway. So now I'm going to select all of that and hit the lightning bolt. And my tables are now winking into existence. So let's refresh. And we now have our tables, right? So that's pretty good. So now we have tables, but no data. Now I'm going to tell ChatGPT generate, for the purposes of our learning lab, please generate is it DDL, DQL, or DML? It's data manipulation language. It's C, CRUD. It's create, data manipulation language. Please generate SQL insert statements to generate records for 5 books, 6 customers, and some orders linking some books to some customers. Leave some books unordered and some customers with no purchases because we want to practice left and right joins later on. So this is basically what we did last week with the warehouse thing, right? So I'm now going to drop those into my SQL panel, and then we'll demonstrate various forms of SQL pulls. So the test next week is going to be on the computer, but it will be questions only. It will not be practical. Like I won't ask you to go to MySQL and do some query or something, but I could show you screenshots of stuff like this. And I could say, write a SQL statement that would make so-and-so situation work. And it could be very much similar to this. So let's go and drop this into our SQL panel now. So I'm going to select all of that and hit my lightning bolt. And everything is going correctly. I'm not seeing any errors down there in my log panel, right? So that's pretty good. Now, let's check what happens. So I'll say select star from. Now, I will ask you to write SQL statements next week during the test. They won't be too complicated, but you should be able to write something like select star from books. Select star from customers. Select star from orders. Notice I'm putting a semicolon at the end of each statement. So SQL interpreter knows which belongs to which. Hit the lightning bolt. And there is our orders. Where's the other stuff though? Maybe customers got overwritten. Let's just run customers again. Oh, yeah. There's customers, good, and there's books. All right, it's all okay. Now, the next challenge is, let's say that we want to write a SQL query. And by the way, you are going to get a question like this. I will give you some table structure, and I will ask you to write a SQL query to report on something, because we've been doing that since the college enrollment system. That should not be a very big challenge in our life. So now I'll say, please print out in diagram format structure of each of the tables. So here might be something very I'm just trying to see what that is. Well, I don't know what 3 is, because sometimes ChatGPT has problems with spelling, right? But anyway, you might, yeah. So yeah, I'll double check that. So let's go and actually, well, let's go and see for orders. Also, I'm going to show you something else. Show me SQL to display the structure of a table. Oh, I should have said it was for MySQL. Yeah, this is what we want. And here the schema name is Deck6 schema. So you see here, it's outputting the structure of each of our tables. Because I try to get that by the diagram from ChatGPT wasn't too good. Now, I'm going to show you an exact kind of question you are 100% guaranteed going to be getting next week. So given the structure of a table, which is going to look very much like this, I'm going to ask you to, so given this structure, write a SQL statement to print out all the orders, to print out all the orders. Can you do that? I don't think it should be too hard. Let's do it together. So first of all, we're going to study here and see that we have books which have a book ID. I will drop this into your exam study, your study question bank. And I wish if you would do this as a little bit of practice by yourself. It's a good way to study is to try to do questions, right? Just try to memorize stuff from the PowerPoint. Maybe that's good for other subjects like, I don't know, marketing or something, but here you got to work problems. So here I have book ID. And here orders has book ID. Oh, actually, orders has customer ID, but where is orders relating it to the customer or relating it to the product, which is the book? So you see, you got to be careful with ChatGPT because it often gets things wrong. And if you don't know what it's supposed to look like, then you're going to get it wrong. Because you can obviously tell here that the relator table, which is orders, must have an order ID. Yeah, that's right. Customer ID, but it does not have a book ID, right? That's a big problem. So let's go back and fix that up. See, where's the book ID? Here's the customer ID. I understand that. Okay. Customer ID relates us to here, customer ID, but we don't have a relationship to a product. An order should relate a customer to a product. So I'll say in your design, that's why it's a big mistake. Don't ever, ever, ever copy and paste from ChatGPT for your assignments. First of all, it's plagiarism. It's not good to do. Second of all, there's a very big chance it might give you the wrong answer. Then you'll really look stupid. Yeah, in your orders table, how is orders being related to? And by the way, I could give you a question. I could give you this exact question. And I could tell you to write a SQL statement to print out all the orders. And then in that case, what I would expect, and by the way, during the test, don't start waving your arm around and going, Peter, there's a mistake in this question. I'll be like, will you shut up? That's part of the question. So the other students figure that out. So if I asked you to write this on a test, your answer would be, I can't because the orders table is improperly formed. It would need to have a book ID, which it doesn't have. So some of the questions are going to be like that. I'm telling you from now, some of the questions will be red herrings, and they will be intended to test that you actually know what's going on, and you've been following the sort of philosophy of the course. So that would demonstrate to me that you really understand this. But for right now, let's go and see if we can fix it. So in your orders table, how is orders being related to books? It's going to say, I'm sorry, I made a mistake, blah, blah, blah. It's going to fix it. I caught it making a mistake. Oh, I see. It's telling me that it wants to implement an additional table. Well, I'm going to tell it, please regenerate the tables, because I don't think you need another table here. Please regenerate orders to include a reference to books.bookid. You see, working with ChatGPT, it's sort of like having a study buddy that you can ask questions, and then they'll work with you and they'll help you understand it. Please regenerate orders table to have a reference to books.bookid. By the way, if I do give you a question like this next week, which I will, don't just tell me that it won't work. Tell me what the fix of it is. Tell me how to fix it so it will work. Please regenerate orders table to hold a reference to books.bookid. Yeah, orders needs to have a reference to books.bookid. All right, now I'm going to say regenerate books and customers to work with this new schema. And meanwhile, I'm going to update my orders table. Now, I could modify the existing table, but I don't know, that's a lot of trouble. So I'm just going to drop the current orders and dump this new one in there. So I'm going to say drop table orders. Yeah, now I'm going to generate the new table. And I guess I need to drop books and customers since I'm regenerating them as well. Drop table books, drop table customers. Why didn't they drop? They're still there. Drop table books. Refresh. Books is still there though. Error code cannot drop books. Of course, because books is being held onto by orders. So you can't erase it. All right, that makes sense. So I have to erase orders first. You see, that's a good example of the foreign key enforcing referential integrity. Drop table orders. Drop table books. Drop table customers. Why not? Let's get rid of everything. Okay, now all the tables are still there. Unknown table books. Yeah, why I'm curious, I know that it's unknown because I dropped it. What I don't understand is why I'm still seeing it in my view over here. Select star from books. Table does, okay, it's here, but it doesn't really exist. All right, fine. Now let's go and regenerate all of our tables. Okay, here's orders. Failed to open the reference table customer. So I need to generate customers first. So generate, yeah, I entered this command, I forgot to run it. All right, so we need to enter customers first. All right, there's books. Done. And now we need customers. And now we need orders. Where's orders? All right. Now I'm going to go back and reissue the command I issued before to generate data. Well, actually now because it'll regenerate with the new table structure. So I'm going to reissue this. All right, now let's go back and study the structure of our database again. Display the structure of all tables. Yeah, here. Okay, is that all done? Select star from books. Select star from customers. Customers. Select star from orders. I don't have. Okay, I have books. I have customers. Do I? I don't have any customers. Interesting. Why didn't I? Well, there's nothing happened from here. Do I have orders? Oh, I don't have. What? Interesting. Was there a failure somewhere? Did something go wrong? Table books doesn't exist. What? Oh, I think you know why? Because there was a mistake here. That line should have not been there, and that prevented the other. Because that was a comment, right? That wasn't SQL code. That's why that didn't work. All right, that's good. So now you saw something else. Now I'm going to rerun the whole command, although it's, oh, actually, there's another one up there. But it's going to complain it cannot insert into books because it's a duplicate, but it'll insert into the other one. So let's watch that happen. So now I'm going to rerun all these commands again. Okay, I don't have any like commas or something there, comments to get in the way. So I'll get rid of that. And I'll run this whole thing. Yeah, oh, it's a duplicate key. And as soon as I did that, it failed. So therefore, I'm going to get rid of that. And I'm just going to run these other two DDLs, DMLs here. Duplicate entry 1 for books on primary. Anyway, select star from books. Select star from customers. And select star from orders. All right, guys, I'm going to go and take a little 10-minute break because I need a break. When we come back, we're going to answer the following question, which will be a test question for you for next week, by the way. And the question is going to be as follows. I'll actually tell you the exact question right now. Books. Oh, yeah, because I got rid of customers, books, and orders. Yeah, there's books. So your test question is going to be, given this SQL code, given this table schema, write a SQL statement to print out, to output all the details of each order, including customer name and book name. But guys, I need a 10-minute break. I do. And maybe many of you are going to go away. That's okay. You're adults. Do whatever you want. When I come back, I will show you how to write that SQL statement. If you want to stay and see that, if you're tired, you need to go to bed. I understand. You do you, but I need to have a little break, of just a 10-minute break for myself. By the way, you should all be able to do this. If you did assignment 1 and assignment 2, the warehouse and the college enrollment system, that's what that is. But anyway, I'll still show us how to do that. Back in 10 minutes, guys. All right, folks, let's finish this up. So I guess by now, has anybody gotten the SQL yet? Do you want to paste it in the chat box? Have you got it? Anyone got the SQL? Okay, let's do it together. So the SQL is going to look like this. We're going to say select star. No, actually, we're going to say select books dot book ID books dot title books dot author. I don't really care about the genre. I'll just say books dot price. Well, maybe books dot genre, I guess. And books dot publisher. I won't get publisher date or the other ones. This is good enough for now. Books dot publisher. And then customers dot first name, customer dot email, because if I can get that, I can get everything else. So customers dot first name, customer dot email. And finally, orders dot total amount. Maybe I want to figure out how much money I brought into the business this month. Books dot total amount. And then I have to say from the table. So from customers, books, and orders. Well, actually, that should have been orders.total. Sorry, guys, I'm tired. It's been a long day. Orders.total total amount. From customers, books, and orders. Now, here's the very important part. Here's why the first version of orders it gave me would have not worked, because now I need to make my predicate joins. Where books dot book ID equals orders dot book ID. And customers dot customer ID equals orders dot customer ID. See, it didn't have the book. It didn't have the book ID in orders the first time. So books.book ID equals order book ID, and orders.customer ID equals customer.customer ID. Let's see if that's going to run. Right, so let's drop this whole statement into our SQL query panel. Oh, unknown column name customer.email. Really? All right, let's go and fix that. So orders. What was it complained about again? It said customers.email wasn't there. Customers.email. I forget what the error message was. Let's go and run it again. Unknown column customer.email. Oh, because it's customers with an S. Customers with an S. Customers like that. Okay, let's try it again. Again, customers with an S here. Let's try that. So that is now a total rendition of all of our orders. Now, I guess the next thing we probably want to know is the total amount of money we brought in. So can we sum that? Let's try. We'll say select sum. Orders.total amount. Now to make an aggregation, and we talked about this with the warehouse. By the way, I'm not going to ask you for aggregation functions, but we've already come this far. So now we need to do a group by. So we need to add a group by function in here. So I'm going to quickly show you this because I know it's late. We're all getting tired, especially me. So we will say, we'll ask our study buddy, given this code, this SQL, what must I do, or how must I aggregate to make the aggregate function sum orders.total amount. What do I need to do to make that work? And it's going to tell us that we have to do an order by. Or group by, excuse me, group by. So we're going to say group by these various factors. So let's add that in. And now it's telling us the total sales for each individual item. Suppose I just aggregated by novel, then it would tell me the total amount, or I aggregated by genre, then it would tell me the total amount per genre. So here I'm just going to order by books.genre. Or I could aggregate it by publisher. I guess that would be another thing that I could do. I want to see what category of book is bringing me the most amount of money, because maybe I'll get more of that category if that's what people like. Select list is not in a group by clause and contains Let's see what it's doing here. Group by book sort genre. Some orders. Yeah. So now it's telling me the total sales by each element, and I want to know what it's aggregating on. So I'll say books dot genre. Yeah. So novels are the most popular and dystopian. Oh, I could also say order by total sales. So I order it, I arrange it by total sales. Whoops. Order by total sales. You have an error. Okay, I'm just going to double check what's going on here. Hang on. Regenerate sequel to order by total sales. Order by total sales descending. So it's telling me that which categories of books are most popular, going down to least popular, and how many I sold of each category. All right, guys, but this last little bit I'm not going to ask you about. Now, I was going to give you a practice test, but I think it's pretty late. We're pretty tired. So here are the questions I would have asked you, and I'll leave it to you if you just want to go and study them by yourself. All right, guys, so for right now, it is already 7:30, so it's about class end time. So we're going to end the class now. If you have any questions while you're studying, send me an email. Email me. But for right now, we're going to end the class. Class dismissed. All right, bye, everybody. See you next week in the class, in the room for the test. So we'll see you later on. Bye. Have a nice night. Bye. No other questions from anybody? No? All right, I'm going to end the class now. Good night.